Hello, I'm SexyDanny21 Awesome, and I'm here today with JTISREBORN, and today we're talking about Carrie 2013, the latest Carrie, of course, in a trilogy of movies, because if you count the original, the sequel, and of course the original remake, this is
the fourth one.
Yes.
Not a trilogy.
The other remake was a made-for-TV movie. This is the first theatrical remake.
Yeah, true.
And it's this remake.
Or if you're going by trilogies, you can kind of say like the first remake, the second remake, and the third remake. You know, whatever. We'll just forget that thought.
Oh well, one's a sequel, and the other one is a made-for-TV movie. So this is the first theatrical actual remake.
Whatever. Let's get into Carrie. I think this is like.
Okay, this remake is done by Sony, and so let's get into it. What did you think of Carrie 2013?
Well, you know, we're a little bit late on this review, over a month, a lot of stuff going on. But anyways, let's talk Carrie. Okay. Well, coming from someone, and I'm going to be 100% honest, I didn't really watch the original all the way through. I've seen parts of it. I haven't actually caught the whole thing. I will one day though. But, you know, I just went into this thing, open mind. I mean, I'm sure if I saw the original, I'd be like, well, that's pretty much a carbon copy. But this movie, well, it's kind of a tough one, because part of me enjoyed it. I was entertained. I mean, I was kind of laughing a lot during it. I found a lot of it funny. I thought the CGI was kind of overdone. But I will say the best performance in the movie is not done by Carrie. It's not done by her mother. It's not done by the boyfriend or the girlfriend. It's done by the bitch of the movie. And I can say that because she is a bitch. She's an asshole. Total horrible person. But she was really good at it. A lot of the comedy came from that. So, I mean, it's entertaining. I mean, Chloe did just fine. Julianne Moore. I'm not really a big fan of Julianne Moore, but, I mean, she was okay. She was pretty funny, though. With some of her, like, actions, I should say, like her obsessed, psychotic, religious stuff, and it's just like, just some of the dialogue that would come out of her mouth would just make me go, oh God. yeah, go ahead, Danny. Let's hear your thoughts.
Well, let me just put it this way. I mean, this is a really good remake. You know, I really enjoyed this movie. You know, I said before that if I was to rate this movie out of 10, I would probably get a 9. I don't think it's the best remake ever made, but I think it's one of the better ones. There's a lot of horrible remakes out there.
Like Black Christmas, right?
That's right, one of the worst remakes ever made. If you ever seen the original Black Christmas, you would appreciate the original. But the great thing about this remake is it really does follow the book, Carrie. It you know, even a lot more closer than the original, and there's a lot of ideas explored, of course, in this adaptation. Now we have to remember that since this is a book that's been made into a movie, it's called an adaptation, not really a remake. But you know, if you want to get really technical, but I would say this is one of the best adaptations I've seen so far because.
I mean, there's only been 3 plus a sequel.
The cool thing about this movie is they bring a lot of things. This movie tries to do what the original did, but also tries to explore ideas that's in our modern world, like cyberbullying, of course. I thought that was really cool how they brought that into the new Carrie. I mean, she's not just being publicly humiliated by the blood falling on her. She's also being publicly humiliated by this video playing on, you know, the screen in the background. I mean, I thought that was fantastic how they brought that in. That was pretty unexpected.
And it is fun to see a lot of assholes get what they deserved. Like,
Yeah.
I just remember the one girl. I mean, a lot of the comedy came from her. She was just completely like psychotic, like, run her down, go, kill her. Ah. But I mean, I feel like the movie. I mean, there's the problem with the movie though is there's no real surprises. You know what I mean? I mean, it's just like, well, I know everything that's gonna happen. You kind of just gave it away. It's just like we know the stuff. Like, what I do like about it though is like you feel like you want to just get in there and just be like, no, stop this. You know what I mean? I like when movies try and do that. Like, try and like get you involved as a person. Like, start shouting stuff. Not like a pissed off manner. Like, no, like there's nothing you can do. You just gotta sit there and watch. Like, you're completely helpless.
Yeah. Well, and also I want to point out that I didn't actually have a problem with the CGI. Like, I really liked the CGI. I thought that they did a
I
really good
just
job.
I don't know. A lot of it just looked really
I like
cheesy.
like the car scene with the bully that was bullying her in the movie where she's in the car and just like how they did that shot with the glass breaking. I really enjoyed that. I thought that was really well done, that part, and that was CGI. I mean, that was one of the best CGI parts in the movie. If you want to, when you agree, that was pretty good how they did that.
It was alright. I mean, I've seen a lot better. I just know because it's like a limited budget, but I just feel like they they kind of overdid it at times. You know what I mean? I mean, it's the house and everything. It's just like I'm just looking at smudges on a screen. Really, like a lot of it. I mean, I was entertained.
The
But
part where she levitated was pretty sweet, though.
yeah, there's some moments where the effects are done well. I think CGI it's best when it's utilized to like take stuff out of the screen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just feel like if you can do something practical, why not do it?
The lamest CGI part I thought in the movie was the ending with the tombstone falling apart. That was really nice.
Yeah, they look really shitty. It's just like
And it's a really disappointing ending because you want something to happen, like a hand to come up or her to come out of the ground or something cool.
yeah, it's just like well, there's really no surprises. I think that's the big problem with the movie is there's just no surprises. It's just like well, we get it. We've seen exactly the same movie done. Why not give us a different twist on the ending or something?
I'm hoping that there's like an alternate ending on the Blu-ray, like something more unexpected, like maybe they show another ending and it just didn't make it into film. Maybe.
Yeah.
Or wouldn't it also be cool if they had an uncut version of the movie where like it had some unexpected stuff happening? That'd be kind of cool, don't you think?
Yeah, I can agree on that aspect. I'm just like, God, I mean, I just want something new based on it. I mean, the cyberboy angle, yes. I mean, Stephen King's adaptations, like, there's a lot of, like, The Shining one, they have two adaptations. They have the miniseries and the movie. They're
Oh,
really different. They
yeah.
feel like completely different movies. This one, I mean, I haven't seen the original, like, all the way through, but it's really a lot really just a kind of a carbon copy in a way with a lot of it. I mean, the cyberbullying stuff and that's new. The cell phones, obviously, it's more of a modern take. But it's just like the ending they could have changed up. Like when they did the Mist adaptation, they changed the ending and it was a lot better. Because originally in the book, he's just like, spoiler alert here, people. He just like gets on the radio and was like hope and stuff. Then they changed it to a really dark, twisted ending, and it's just like really just kind of shocking. It's just like wow, this poor guy. He just went through all that shit, and salvation was just a minute away. Stuff like that. I mean, they could have changed up the ending. I mean, would
Yeah,
Stephen King really be too mad? I mean, he's had a lot of shitty adaptations
and,
before.
and and the original ending was just so fantastic. I mean, with the hand coming out of the grave, like it was a really creepy moment where this ending fell flat. Nothing unexpected happened. You
Yeah,
know
it
what I
was
mean?
just lame CGI.
Yeah, I mean, they could have done a way better job on the ending. I mean, I think we can both agree on that. No, I thought the movie was like I actually liked the movie, like how they explained when she was a baby that her mom was gonna like murder her. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I enjoyed that part, I guess. She's just like, ah! And I like how the teacher just like slaps her. But like, there's just so many things that kind of bug me about it. It's just like, these students, I mean, I've seen kids in class say, fuck off to the teacher and stuff. It's just like, well, yeah, you're expelled. And it's just like, my daddy's gonna do something about it. It's just like, well, bitch, you're still expelled.
Yeah,
And then it's just like, just show your phone. You'll be innocent or whatever. I mean, if you haven't seen the movie, they probably have no clue what we're talking about.
Now, if there was another adaptation of Stephen King's book, what would you like to see next? I mean, we just seen Carrie 2013.
I know they're doing It, which is the one
Yeah.
I want to see the most. What else?
Uh-huh.
Doctor Sleep.
That's the one I want to see it because
It's going to be a two-parter movie, so
I always liked the original It, but I always felt it was kind of a letdown in the book and also the movie about the giant spider because I think they should have focused on Pennywise the Clown because he was such an interesting character.
yeah.
I would
And Tim
take
Curry
that
was great.
You know what I mean?
The movie, or I should say, mini-series, is really just a two-part mini-series. The first half, like a lot of Stephen King's movies, is a lot better. I just liked it. I enjoyed it a lot more when it was focused on the kids because I felt like the adults just weren't as entertaining. And that ending is just so stupid. It's just like you have this huge build-up.
Kind of is a big letdown. You know what I mean? Like,
That's Stephen King for you. Look at the Langoliers. He had those giant Pac-Man ball things that looked like early '90s CGI. So I shouldn't really complain about the CGI in this movie. I should be complaining about the Langoliers. Those giant Pac-Man meatball things, and I'm just like, what the hell are those?
So we're gonna both agree that this is a fairly good adaptation.
Yeah, it's pretty. It's entertaining. I mean, if you haven't seen the original, I guess you'll be entertained. If it's something you have no clue about, you'll be entertained. But if you're, I don't know how to completely judge, but I'm saying if you're looking for something really fresh and new, you're shit out of luck, I should say.
Yeah, and what did you think of Cleo as Carrie? Did you think she did a good job?
But
I mean,
Chloe Grace Moretz.
yeah,
I think she did all right. You know, I mean, she's been in a lot of movies lately. I mean, I think it's mostly because of. Yeah, it's definitely in due big part to her part as Hit Girl and Kick Ass. That's the reason
yeah.
she's getting a lot of these parts. But I think she did fine.
hmm Oh well, Sissy Spacek was just so good as Carrie in the original, and I mean she was old when she played Carrie, but the neat thing about her was that she felt kind of authentic. She felt like not the popular girl, and she looked so pale, you know, as Carrie. And then when they get her done up on the makeup, it's like a complete makeover. Where Cleo in this
Chloe.
movie, well, I mean,
Yeah, we'll just roll with it.
Chloe, where Chloe, um, she doesn't feel quite, you know, she looks kind of like an outsider, Chloe, but she doesn't feel like, you know what I mean? Like she doesn't feel like, she doesn't look like the unpopular girl at the back of the class with the pale face. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
she's basic. She had a transition in the movie. She was pale and she had a complete makeover to make herself, you know, fit in.
Presentable.
For this one, she looked hot from the beginning. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, underage, but.
No, but that's what I mean though. Chloe already looked
Like she
really
didn't really
good.
seem like as much like an outcast. You know what I mean?
She looked like an outcast. I get that whole thing, but she just didn't. She didn't look, you know, like kind of like the character in the book where her face is really pale and she doesn't fit in. Like Sissy Spacek just felt like that. She was a natural. You know what I mean?
Yeah, she was more natural, I guess. But I mean, age-wise, Chloe fitted better.
Yeah, no, like age-wise, definitely. It's just I just think that the transition just felt better in the original. I don't know. I felt there was more of a transition. Where in this one it was just kind of like a pretty girl that's an outsider. Where another one it's like girl that's, you know, doesn't do anything to make herself pretty, becomes pretty because she gets a snake over and she goes to the prom. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That I don't know. That's what I get from the original compared to the remake. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I gotta say, she did do a really good job as Carrie. I liked her acting. I thought it was really good. I liked how they explored the whole kind of like YouTube.
Cyberbullying.
So, yeah.
Better than the movie Cyberbullying, that ABC Family trash or whatever.
and the telekinesis, learning it on YouTube was actually pretty cool. She's like going on YouTube to learn it. And,
Yeah, I
you know,
thought that one kid was like, "Oh, you got to do this." Oh, I thought they were gonna be friends or something. I'm just like, "Oh, I guess not. See you later."
yeah. Uh, so, I mean, so what do you think of it, really?
Well, I mean, I think it's just like entertainment. I think in about a year or two, people will kind of forget about it though. Like a lot of horror movies that come out at the time, they'll have like a little bit of buzz in the
Yeah.
beginning, and I don't think it's gonna have big staying power though. Like you know what I
Yes.
mean? Like a lot of horror movies are just like, oh, they're well known at the time, then just like the staying power just goes away.
I think that Cleo was definitely the right choice. Don't you agree?
Yeah, Chloe was.
I mean, okay. Let's.
Yeah, I know. We'll just roll with
I
it some
think
more.
that Chloe was definitely the right choice for playing the part. You know what I mean? Because she's a different take on the character. I guess. I mean, it's not really a carbon copy because it's kind of like a two interpretations. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So, even though I think that's a letdown, I also think it's kind of different where they just play the part a little bit differently, which I thought was simple. I don't know. If you're gonna do a remake, I say switch it up a little bit, and I thought they switched that up. I mean, I thought she did a good job for what she did. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
I mean, her transition wasn't quite as good as Sissy's Basics, but she still did a really good acting job, especially when she freaks out as Carrie. You know what I mean?
Oh, what is this stuff?
and she's levitating and she's killing everybody. It was nice to watch.
Those parts there, I felt like some parts that were good, but sometimes like the CGI is just like, here's one big plot hole that I have. You know how she has like the telekinesis power?
Yeah,
Well, couldn't she just like telekinetically take the blood like off her face or something like that?
yeah, but then she might like blow up her face or something.
No, I don't know. I'm just saying she probably could try something like that.
Yeah, well, I mean, she could fuck that up though and like totally like mess her face up or something. She
Yep.
could boil her face maybe doing it. You never
I don't
know.
know because we'll just have to. That'll be a question that we'll never have answered. But anyways, I
I
think
think even Stephen King's like, you know what? She had a bath because I didn't want her to melt her face. So.
Stephen King's just like, well, I put myself in a corner here. But then again, it's an adaptation that can add stuff. Oh
Yeah.
well.
Well, yeah. Well, I'm pretty. Even in the original, she has a back. So, I
Hmm.
mean, even the book, right? So, I mean, clearly it's there for a purpose. It would be interesting to ask Stephen King that.
I don't know. I'll have to ask King, in my many conversations with him that I have off here. But anyways, I think we've rambled on about the movie enough.
So, what are you gonna give it out of 10?
7. I think seven's fair.
I'm gonna give it a 9.
9?
Yeah,
Oh,
and I guess the next Stephen King movie that will be in production, as we've heard,
is
is
the
gonna be
cell.
It. It's gonna be hard to top.
Well, it's supposed to be like, well, in terms of it, I know they have like a director. I know they're like writing it right now, and Stephen King's it. There's no way you can make it like a one movie adaptation. It has to be two parts because the book is just,
Theatrical release.
yeah, 2-part theatrical release,
That'd be cool.
and it's gonna be like a hard R because the TV movie had to take a lot of stuff out because it was like TV. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. And there's a lot of like really stuff in the book that didn't make it in
Hmm.
the TV one. So
Yeah, and I'd like to see Tim Curry somehow come back as Pennywise. He's hilarious though, but then again, I think you'd want to have someone scary because Tim
yeah,
Curry, he wasn't scary. He was hilarious.
yeah, definitely. I mean, let's just hope that's the next one because I would like to see that.
I know they're making The Cell. That's
Yeah.
that's that's one Stephen King's been writing, and he might even direct it. I don't know. We'll see. But thank you for watching this section. Now it's time for me to interview Spiderjackangel.
All right. Have a good night.
Have a good night. Welcome back, or for those of you who didn't really leave because I just interviewed Danny, or he interviewed me, or whatever you want to go by, this is my turn to just kind of let Spiderjackangel take the floor for a few minutes and give his thoughts on Carrie 2013. He's going to probably discuss the original, the sequel that I haven't seen, which he's seen. You've seen it, right?
Yeah, I really liked it.
And the second adaptation of Carrie.
Yeah.
I'm just going to sit here, make an obscene facial gestures while he talks, so if you get tired of listening to him, no offense, but you can just look at me. Or
Or
if you,
if you want, you could Google Google Cleo's commercials, and you could basically see what our friend Sexy Danny 21 Awesome was so thinking of at the time.
oh yeah, he kept saying Cleo. I'm not even going to edit that out because it makes it funnier. I'm just going to leave it
Uh,
intentionally just to make him mad. He's probably going to see this part and be like, what the hell, you guys? Oh
yeah.
well.
Now,
Go ahead.
the first
Floor.
Carrie movie, is relatively very classic. It's a good film, definitely something to watch. And then the sequel that followed was very underrated at the time because it kind of came out in, I want to say, late 90s, mid 90s, but at the time it came out, it kind of came a little bit under the radar, and it was very different than the first Carrie movie, but it was, sequel to it. It basically dealt with Carrie's half sister, who she didn't know about because you find out that her father basically slept with this other crazy person. And basically, Carrie 2 followed this person who basically dealt with a bunch of asshole football players.
Of course, you got to
And
deal with the assholes.
let's face it, Carrie 2 had a bunch of assholes, but I'll get into that after I talk about the new Carrie movie,
And then you got
which,
this. Remember the second
yeah,
adaptation?
the reboot, but I'm going to talk about that. I'm talking about the second reboot. But, however, the new one with Chloe Grace Moritz.
Cleo Grace
Now,
Moritz. I'm sorry. I just got to.
yeah, I
Sorry.
know. But, however, the new one with Chloe Grace Moritz, the film, I've heard, mixed things about it. I know what your thoughts on it were, and I know
I
what a
was
couple of the
laughing.
YouTubers' thoughts on it were, and I went into it on Halloween with pretty much an open mind because, let's face it, I like Carrie's story. I would probably see another Carrie adaptation if they do it because I like her character regardless of the outcome. And basically, when I saw this movie, I have to say props to the creators of this film for doing something a little bit different at the beginning of it. We got to see Carrie's birth, in which we didn't see in the other films. I mean, the first reboot basically started out at the interrogation of Sue's character, and the original Carrie basically started up in the locker room shower, and
Oh
each
God, what is this?
adaptation basically adds a little bit different taste, and I have to say this one does change some stuff, but it also takes kind of inspirations out of the first reboot, The Rage Carrie 2, and the original film. It's it borrowed from the previous films that came before it. And overall, I would have to say both Julianne Moore and Chloe Grace Moritz did do a good job in the film, but I felt the movie was kind of lacking here and there in terms of it just felt like the creators of the film was just trying to make a fast story instead of taking its time. And I think if it took its time, the movie would have been a little bit better. But however, as it is, the movie still is good. It still has some redeemable values to it, but there are a couple of things that I have to say seem a little too unrealistic in this film. Like the main bully in the film, main girl bully,
She was
it just
hilarious. She was such a
it
bitch.
just seemed like that they were trying to make her
Like a
as
super villain.
bad as the football players were in the second Carrie movie, because the football jocks in the second one were complete assholes, and then when basically they got slaughtered at the end of the second movie, you as an audience member basically were just sitting there like, Yeah, yeah, that's exactly what happens. I mean, comeuppance for the jocks in the second lead was phenomenal, and it's probably one of my favorite, slaughters of the Carrie films. But this girl, like, they just try to make her like no redeeming values whatsoever. I mean, even in the original film, she basically had some of her conscience, but in this one, it's just like, nope, we're tossing that
She's
right out the
soulless.
door.
She's
Yeah,
soulless. That's why I think she was. That's why I was laughing so much. Like she goes so far, just like kill her, kill her.
but however, I do wish that the film could have done something a little bit different at the ending portion because it just felt like,
The same thing. That's exactly what I was saying with Danny. Because I'm just like,
well, not so much the same thing, but just more like, okay, we're ending it kind of like the first film, but then we're ending it kind of like the reboot. But how can we do it in a way that doesn't seem like we're copying the reboot and not copying the original film? And basically, they're like, oh, I know. Why don't we just, basic spoiler here, why don't we just end it with some rock music and Sue put a flower on Carrie's grave and then a
some
sudden
really bad
scream?
CGI.
I mean, to me, I think that if they would have, just had the ending that the reboot had, the first reboot, I think it would have been much more better if they were going to maybe decide to make a sequel to this film. I don't know. But however, as a film itself, I have to say it was, pretty good. I mean, there are some negative things, there are some positive things about the film, but overall, as a full package, I would say that the movie was good. But at times, I wish that it would have not played as safe as it did because I think that the first preview to this film basically sold it as Carrie was just gonna, slaughter everybody at the school and then basically slaughter everybody in town almost. And we didn't get that. And that was a little bit disappointing. I understand maybe they didn't want to get a humongous shock from seeing Carrie killing everybody. But, as they said in the fourth Scream movie, the, you know, supposedly, well, reboots are supposed to try to re-up the original by basically doing something different. And
Hmm.
basically, this movie did do anything different when it
That's
came
I think
to.
that's the big problem with it is it didn't really do anything new. I mean, we got like little tidbits, but really it's just like show me something different. I mean, there's been other adaptations of Stephen King's work like The
Well,
Mist.
I like the fact that we did kind of get to see Carrie's mother at work,
Well, yeah,
working at a
true
sewing
that,
company.
but I
I
also
mean,
wanted
that
to
was kind of nice.
I still want to add in the fact that the ending is just like I know they have the ending in the other movies, which is really similar. It's about really the same thing, pretty much. You know what I mean?
Well, not in the first reboot. This is a little spoiler I'm going to toss out there. In the first reboot, Carrie actually lives. She basically gets hidden in the back seat from Sue, and then Sue basically sneaks her out of town, cuts her hair a little bit, and tells her it's not her fault, and basically takes her to a different location somewhere. And I think that if they would have gone with that ending, and maybe we would have, seen Carrie in a different location, or if we would just seen Carrie in a different location
Yeah, that's what
altogether,
I'm saying.
it would have been much more better.
Yeah, because I'm just like, well, I'll give you another example. Stephen King's The Mist, the ending to the book, basically is just kind of like it's a radio frequency. It's just like, yeah,
Hmm.
so and so. The movie's ending, holy shit, what was up with that ending? It was such a,
Well, I understood why they ended it that way after
it was an
further
awesome, it
research.
was a great ending, I thought, because
Yeah, it was, and the reason why they ended it that way for people that don't know is because originally the film was actually supposed to be shot in black and white, and it was supposed to be, kind of like a black and white film for, our time, and basically supposed to represent old black and white movies. And, from that standpoint perspective, there's only one way you could end a movie like that. So,
I don't know. I just think it's a really powerful ending because it's just like he goes through all that trouble. And he's like, "Come on, just take me already." Oh, salvation! God
Yeah.
damn it! You should just play the wah wah music. Wah wah
But
wah wah.
back onto the Carrie reboot. Um, if I was going to grade it, and this might be a little bit higher than some, I'd probably give it a solid 8. I mean, I
Ah,
did
you're not as
enjoy
high
it.
as Danny. Danny gave it a 9.
Well, yeah, I think 8 is basically reasonable because of the fact that there are some problems with it, but however, when it really comes down to it, it's all preferences.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely.
But for those of you that haven't seen the other Carrie films, definitely check out the Rage Carrie 2. It's a very underrated sequel, and at the time when it was released, it did, do 100% well in theaters. But however, for me, I consider it a very classic film, right up there with the original Carrie.
Mm-hmm.
So,
So, which ones, if you were to rank the Carrie movies, like in terms of like best to weakest, how would you go? Like, which one would you say is the best?
the best Carrie movie would most definitely be the first one.
Okay.
The second best would be the Rage Carrie 2. It's kind of funny, but the third one would be Go to the Reboot, and then
The first, the TV one or the
yeah, the TV one. There wasn't we're
yeah,
not going to
cause
include the musical,
I don't know.
so it's just the TV one
And
because
then the weakest one's the newest one, you'd say.
yeah. But however, I would say in terms of performance wise, Sissy Spacek number one, Chloe Grace Moretz number two, and then the girl who was in the first reboot number three. So Chloe Grace Moretz did do a good job as Carrie White, but however, the movie itself needed a little more work.
All right, I think we've pretty much said what we need to say. Thank you for actually like watching the other movies more than me because I didn't see the TV
Oh,
adaptation.
I enjoyed the Carrie films. I really
Can't
did.
believe we got 4 Carrie movies. Well, maybe the next time they add up Carrie in what, like 10 years?
You know, one of the things I suggested to one of my friends, and honestly, I actually kind of wouldn't mind seeing this, but yeah, I know it would never happen in my lifetime anyway. But honestly, I would love it if they got Carrie White and Charlie McGee from Firestarters just to team up and just to kill things. I mean, honestly,
That'd
that
be
would be
pretty
so
crazy.
awesome.
You're like, I got superpowers. No, I got superpowers.
Well, they could have basically the government being after them, and stuff like that, and it just would be one crazy ass thing. And
Yeah, there
honestly,
needs to be some more team up and versus movies.
Carrie White and Charlie
Firestarter.
McGee. There you go.
All right, that's gonna wrap it up for this long. Once again, another long video. So yeah, we'll be back with some more stuff. I'm returning to horror movie of the week soon. It's a busy time of the year for us.
Yeah, and plus I got my PlayStation 4 for anybody that wants to know.
Yeah, I'll get mine by Christmas, hopefully. That is if they have them in stock because they're selling so much. But anyways, thank you for watching. Have an awesome time, and yeah, we're a month later on this one.
Hey, don't forget, it's not Chloe Grace Moretz.
It's Cleo. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.